And on the Fannie and Freddie issue, it really was tremendously helpful. Judd Gregg, my Republican colleague in the Senate, he and I wrote the TARP legislation together. The reason we ended up with 75 votes at the time in the Senate was because we had a lot of cooperation. I recall him saying, very vividly saying on the floor of the Senate when the bill came up for consideration, it was not for lack of trying. We just couldn't come up with an answer that was going to be satisfactory on Fannie and Freddie, which is a separate issue which needs to be dealt with. But Barney's point, that this is tail-wagging dog, that was the source of the problem. But secondly, and I say this respectfully, but your question, unintended consequences, that's not a reason not to legislate, or a reason not to legislate. There are always going to be potentially unintended consequences. And I'll say, certainly, as one of the co-authors of the bill, there'll probably be things down the road you're going to want to change and modify. There's nothing radical about that idea. And there'll be some unintended consequences, I presume. But you don't sit around and do nothing. You'd never legislate if that were going to be the case.
Let me add just one other point, because I would want to concede. The criticism that we didn't end too big to fail, I think we clearly have done it. And the proof of that is this. Some institutions are clearly in that category. Other institutions are subject to the discretionary judgment of the FSOC as to whether or not they will be in that category. And with one exception, they hate the idea. They are fighting against it. This notion that it's a great benefit to be in that category. Then why is MetLife suing to get out of it? Why are why are mid-sized banks trying to push up the $50 billion so they won't be they won't be covered? The more plausible criticism comes from Tim Geithner, from others in the finance community, namely that we made it too hard for the Fed to bail out banks. I mean, that is the criticism that you're getting. I disagree with it. What they're saying is, look, it may come a time in America when it's important for there to be the public to come to the aid of a major institution. My answer is, given what we've been through, if in fact that is the case, I hope it isn't, but if in fact that's the case, then you're going to have to go persuade Congress. The notion that you would give the executive branch the unilateral right to do that misreads history.